them or read about them, but you need the big players from pre-Attitude uh, days. So yeah, I don't know. It doesn't have the big time feel to it this year, the Hall of Fame.
I suppose one of the battles these days is actually getting guys to sign up in the first place. WWE notorious for those contract loopholes that keep a guy from working for 90 days, maybe even longer once they sign that Hall of Fame contract. It doesn't always work out, certainly in the case of Honky Tonk Man. His argument was that it would cost him money to do it, and I think it is, in a sense, a bit of a work.
Yeah, he makes sense, Hunky, and he's right. I think. I mean, he's probably going to make more money on the Indies, from all those shows that he probably has lined up than having to cancel and not compete for 90 days.
Something around there. They don't have a long period, but 90 days could really affect the guy's income.
Yeah, especially when you're kind of, I won't say on the washed up side of things, but when you're on the Indies and you got to pay the way and look after yourself, and if you have family or whatever,
is what I would say keeps a lot of guys from going in there. And a lot of these people, like we've mentioned before, Bruno Sammartino and some of those notables who haven't made it in yet, it's their choice, and they certainly have seen the business back and forth, in and out. They know what a good deal is and what isn't.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing something about Santino. Maybe somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but a similar low payout of something like $2,000 for, I think it was a Rumble as well, for that quick in and out. Or maybe it was somebody else, but somebody definitely didn't make a whole lot of money from a quick in and out in the Rumble. Can't remember who it was. Was it Santino? I'm not sure.
Santino, he had the shortest entrance into the Rumble recently, didn't he?
Yeah, maybe that was it. Quick $2,000 and off he goes. But yeah, I'm going to try find out what the buzz is with this Hall of Fame.
Certainly, and Firesoul86 live on Justin.tv has commented. He says they will usually get a figure released as well, so they get some money from that. Of course, always they have those merchandise deals in place.
Yeah, I suppose that makes a lot of sense with the Legends thing. I hear they're trying to get Goldberg on a Legends deal now, which be interesting to see.
We will see what happens. Now, the Hall of Fame currently including some of the following. We, of course, have Ted DiBiase, assuming he's going to be inducted by his two sons.
I'd say so, yeah. I would say so, definitely.
And others in this Hall of Fame, Mad Dog Vachon, we have Antonio Inoki, Wendy Richter, and Gorgeous George. Now, with Gorgeous George, I thought it was great to see that the WWE are bothering to go and find some of these wrestling pundits and commentators and some of the industry figureheads from back decades way past from now. Good to know that they're not neglecting that side of wrestling history.
Yeah, it's good to see WWE acknowledge old NWA heads like that promo they did for the induction of Gorgeous George for the Hall of Fame. So yeah, they're still out there, and you always kind of learn a bit more about the history of these people and the kind of territories they came from and stuff. And yeah, I'm excited about seeing Gorgeous George get inducted. I think he's dead though, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm sure somebody from his family there will look after that. But yeah, it should be fun.
Indeed, and Raw continued with Batista and his totally dark entrance. Loving how that's highlighting his whole centre of attention attitude at the moment. Certainly Batista only has one man on his mind, and that would be John Cena. But other than that, Batista thinking a lot about himself as well, and how he is going to defend his title at WrestleMania against the might of that company merchandise seller, the powerhouse John Cena.
That was a great introduction. Yeah, the powerhouse, the man himself, the face of WWE, from entertaining everybody and the kids to completely annoying the absolute hell out of everybody and some kids. Yeah, this is going to be good. I'm looking forward to this for some reason. Normally, if you said to me Batista Cena at Mania, I would have said, oh jeez, give me a shout when it's over. But yeah, I think it's because heel Batista works. That's why. And I don't mean that in the work sense, but it works.
It does, it works, and it's about time. We've been waiting for this. We're so sick of seeing that guy. We know that in real life, he's been notorious as being not very friendly to fans. We can say that from experience. But Batista is a man who, well, now he's playing perhaps more to his strengths, which would be his correct and his genuine attitude, what he probably is like. If you knew him backstage, we've heard all the stories.
Yeah, and he spent a lot of time as a bouncer previous to his wrestling role. So I'm sure he's used to kicking some ass and being a prick to people. And he does a good job with it when he brings it into his heel character. So I think it fits him perfectly. Interesting to see if they'll keep Cena babyface afterwards, which I'm sure they will. But they shouldn't.
I thought it was very interesting this week, Batista taking on Cena, as that's going to happen at WrestleMania. It was very kind of, well, I suppose I would say interesting to note that Kofi Kingston put a dent in Batista's armor when he accidentally set him bleeding. And Batista really looked an absolute mess. You had to feel sorry for him. He was trying to be going in strong to WrestleMania, and Kofi was the guy he was meant to be squashing. It ended up being that, well, I think Batista looked a little bit weak after being, well, fought and punished by the man Kofi Kingston.
Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want that 2 weeks before Mania. I'm sure Batista wasn't in the best of moods after that one, come backstage. But yeah, he still, Kofi did his job, and that was fine. And Batista, on the other hand, blood aside, looks strong going into Mania. And this Monday we'll see some more of a build, so that'll be good.
Always great to see Bret Hart, and once again this week on Raw he was on to sign a contract that officially means the match with Vince McMahon at WrestleMania will go ahead. It was fantastic to see Austin, Bret and Vince in the same ring after quite a long time, and indeed to see Bret and Vince sitting down at a table doing that traditional contract signing, that was hilarious.
Yeah, it was old school. We like old school. That whole segment was brilliant from start to finish, and Vince just priceless as usual. You can't help but laugh, and yeah, I think it would be great if they had Austin as a special guest referee. Maybe it might be a surprise, although I doubt it at this stage because we probably know about it to build it up. But yeah, that was cool. That whole segment was really, really great.
Certainly, it was one that I enjoyed, and a contract signing between Bret Hart and Vince McMahon is always one that's going to interest us, especially since we probably never thought we were going to see that again. Yeah,
it's been a long time coming. Definitely a long time coming. And good to see actually Austin acknowledge Bret Hart for the old WrestleMania match back in the day. I think WrestleMania 13, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong on that one, but yeah, I think so. And yeah, it was great. I still the whole end of it was a bit of a mishmash, but good to see that crutch and the broken leg was a big work out of Bret, and that he's able-bodied. Safely able-bodied, I'm sure, but yeah, I mean, he couldn't have gone in there with that broken leg, really, could he?
Absolutely, Bret Hart working us all into believing that he had broken his leg, and what a clever plan. Do you think John Cena and Bret thought that one all by themselves?
I'd say they did. I'd say it was probably Cena's suggestion, without a doubt, and Bret probably went through with it, but they got one over on Vince. So good work, guys.
Indeed, and that was a wrap-up of this week's WWE Monday Night Raw. You're listening to Wrestledope. It's the Wrestledope podcast. Also, we're live now on justin.tv. You can catch us there every Sunday. That's 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, and 7 p.m. GMT. We're just two fans talking about wrestling.
Yep, telling it like it is, what's good and what's not good. We've no experience in the business, but we do have experience watching the business.